Hey everybody, it's Allie Edwards, and welcome to December Daily, story number 6 for 2024. Yesterday I had my nice little cozy, misty, foggy story, and today was my book club Christmas party this morning, so I am back home and I am ready to tell that story, and that's going to be my story for today. So lots of you guys know I've been a part of a book club for a long time now. We always have a favorite things party for our Christmas get together, and we did that this morning and it was super fun. So what I have done here is I printed out just a big photo. This is of the gifts that I gave this year, and all of them all wrapped up in their packages. In my album already, I had one of the 2x2 pocket pages, so I'm going to use that as my base. I've got 4 little photos from this morning that I was going to add in here. I'm pretty sure that I'm going to use one of these tags on top of my photo, and it's just going to say like Book Club Christmas or Book Club Xmas or Book Club, something like that. On one of these tags, I haven't decided which one yet I'm going to use. And then I also grabbed some of the ribbon that was attached to some of the gifts, and I was thinking that I could use that on some of these specific tags in here I've got this December story paired with them. So I might add either an embellishment or some additional words or something on here, because this isn't going to give me a lot of space for words. I don't really have a lot of things to say about it, but I might want more than one. It's actually maybe what I could do is I could use both of these tags, place one in the middle and then one on top, and one could be the little title, and then I could handwrite on this one. Actually, maybe that's what I'll do. I kind of like that idea of layering 2 tags on top of each other. I could add a little something on the bottom. So that is what I'm going to do. All right, diving into the process here, I'm going to start by trimming out my photo. Again, these full page photos, I do them 7 inches wide by 8.25 or 8.25 inches tall. That's essentially the size of the outside of our page protector. So trimming that all out. Then I will also be trimming the 2x2 photos here in a minute, just kind of getting this laid out and starting to see how this is going to come together. Trimming the 2x2s, I set those 2x2s up on a 4x6 background, and then printed them in Photoshop or from Photoshop. I set up a 4x6 foundation and put some 2x2s on it, and then printed that on my Epson PictureMate PM400. So just adding in, I've got 4 little 2x2s here. Then I have the This December story tags, and then I have 4 additional tags from that plastic tag set. Next, I'm going to use a red line tape to adhere the photo to the back of my day 5 story, or my story number 5. That's also where you can see that I have that foam tape that I added on there yesterday that is on the back that keeps the tag that goes into the photo. How I created a slit for a pocket in the photo, that keeps it in the right place. I did intend to pull the backing off of that foam tape, the second side there. I did forget to do that, but it's going to be just fine because it's going to be fully adhered down with the red line tape double-sided adhesive. So adhering that down on there, then I'm going to get my metal ruler and craft knife, and I'm going to trim off the excess. There's almost always excess when I'm cutting these by hand. No big deal, right? Just what I do. Get that all trimmed out. Love it, love it, love it, love it. I really like that top-down picture. It's a good reminder to think about the ways that you are taking pictures, and are you switching up the views, right? Just think about that a little bit. All right, next up, I am going to do stamping and embossing on the smaller of the 2 tags that I'm using. I'm going to use the 4x6 alpha and number stamp set that we offered with the collection this year. This is a fun one that has variation in the font, so each letter looks a little bit different, and I love that mixed up letter setup there. So I am using Versamark onto the tag. That is the embossing ink, and then I'm going to be adding gold embossing powder. This is Ranger gold embossing powder, same one that I've been using for quite a while now. Doing the first word, I'm doing the word book first. I did use a static pouch and wipe that on here before I did the embossing. You might have seen on my Versamark container there, I have a sticky note that says static pouch, so that I try to remember to use that. It does a pretty good job when you rub the static pouch on there of making it so that extra embossing powder doesn't get all over everywhere. Just makes it a little bit of a cleaner stamping experience. I will say though that when I was stamping one of these letters, it might be the L or the U in club, I must have pressed down with like the circle stamp or something, because I end up with a little bit of like random stuff on here. It's like the outline of the circle or something. So it happens. And when there is extra embossing powder, I do what I'm doing right here is I just grab a dry, small paintbrush, and then I can go around the spots where I don't want the embossing powder to be if it seems to be catching on somewhere else. But normally when I use the static pouch, that helps that. Maybe I needed to do it again on this one after I did the first part. All right, so I stamped Book Club, and then I grabbed the Liz Tamanaha stamp set from this year, and it has the individual words Christmas and party on there. So that was a fun little thing to add. I am just using black StazOn ink for the Christmas party portion on the bottom rather than doing embossing. So I liked how that looked. You can also see right there I was using the stamp Misty. It's called a Misty. It's a stamping platform, and I was using that because I've definitely found recently when I'm stamping that even if I don't use the platform portion or the portion that you can attach the stamps to, just having that little bit of a softer surface has been working better for some of my stamping. So that is why I use that. All right, now I'm pulling out some tab stickers. These were some that were a part of the collection. I wanted to get a little bit of red onto this page or this side of the spread there. I also did run my book club tag through the sewing machine and just added a line of red stitching on there. That also brings a little bit of the red onto that first page. Next up, I am using some additional little tab stickers there that I am slipping into the pockets. These are going on the back of my photos. This one is in the advent calendar. So if you are an advent calendar person, I'm sorry to spoil this for you. If this is a spoiler, it will be coming up for you in a future day. I have no idea which day it is because I took all the stuff out so that I would have access to it to be able to use it during the month itself. But I'm going to use 4 of those, one on each one of the photos that I'm adding into the pockets. I love these 2x2s. If you haven't used the 2x2 pockets before, they're a really fun way to add a variety of different things, especially if you maybe have a lot of pictures you want to include. You're also going to see here that I'm going to bring in some of the packaging on some of the favorite things, gifts that I received. I'm actually going to end up using a 1.5-inch circle punch to punch out some of that packaging and then add it onto the tag. So you're going to see that coming up in a minute here. I liked having all of these, the ones that the tabs here that I'm adding to the my photos, I liked having all of those white. I thought that ended up looking good too. I considered adding that plastic word gather on there. That was in the main kit this year, but I don't end up adding that on there. I'll try to save that for another one. Here I decided though to emboss another stamp. This is the number 6 for story number 6, and I'm doing that on top of one of the gold rimmed circles that we offered this year. I love that size. This is the 1.5-inch circle size. Great for adding onto photos, great for slipping into these pockets. I'm going to be stapling that number onto the plastic tag in a little bit here as we continue to move forward. Next up, I'm pretty sure that I'm going to adhere that red tab on the outside of the tag, on the outside edge of the tag. This again was just wanting to bring a little bit of the red from that second page onto the first page. When I was working on that too, originally I was thinking that I would put the tab on the book club part, like on the top portion, but I end up with a different solution for something to grab to turn that tag that you'll see in a minute. Next, I'm just adding a little bit of hand journaling, just some basics about getting together for our annual tradition of favorite things parties. If you've never done these before, it's a really fun way to have a little gathering. We end up having we put a price cap on it. We have 9 people in our book club. And so we bring, 8 of the same gifts, one for each person, and then just have a dollar maximum for those two. So it's a fun thing. Everybody loves it. We always get super unique little gifts. We also all feel like it is the Christmas for, especially for moms or many women who are taking care of everyone else's Christmas. It's really fun to go and we each get, 8 different things from our friends that are things that people can be really useful or, things they just love. It's a fun thing. And you could do it without, you don't have to have a book club. You could just get some friends together. This just happens to be a special group of people. The gift I gave this year was actually a wind chime, and it's a Two Souls wind chime. I got it from a company called Festive Farmhouse, and I looked it up today because somebody asked about it, and it didn't look like they're selling the same one that I got, but they do have another one. So it was just kind of a fun thing that we could all have in our homes together. So, all right. So next up, I am working with the ribbon here. This is some of the ribbon that was on one of the packages from the book club gifts. I am going to fold it over. I'm using a little bit of red line tape to create essentially a tab, right, or a little pull with this ribbon that can give your finger a place to rest. Give your finger something to hold on to as you turn up that book club. You can see I've got that gold star brad on there. That is actually what I ended up using to be the turning mechanism, and then I'm adhering this with red line tape right there, and then it can be pulled open or turned up to the top. I moved it around a little bit. I end up putting it right where the red stitching is. Yeah, there we go. And then you can grab onto that to turn it. I liked that. I thought that was a cute solution, and it brings that ribbon onto the first page. I'm going to add more of it to the second page in a little bit. So here's where I pulled out a couple of the packaging pieces from things that I received from my friends this time. And I like the idea of just, looking for an opportunity to hole punch these out. So this is the 1.5 inch punch. And I'm just adding that directly onto there. I'm actually going to end up stapling those in place. And this one I looked around a little bit to try to kind of figure out where did I want to, what part of this did I want? So I ended up grabbing the title there. And I like how these kind of have, a little bit of color on them too. I think it's a fun way to add that in. The first time I did this one, I ended up using rolling adhesive, but then the tiny attacher seemed to work better. So I'll be pulling this one back out again to add the tiny attacher, or add the staple from the tiny attacher on there. This is also something that you could do, you don't have to do circles. Obviously, you could do a 2x2 punch. I've done that before in Week in the Life, and I think I've probably done it in this project as well when I've cut up packaging or Christmas cards or something else where you're just wanting some 2x2 squares that could go into those pockets. So this could have been just all packaging stuff. I could have done it that way, but I did want to take advantage of these cute scalloped edge tags. So they're just become a little home for each one of my little circles. I'm even going to cover up the Make Some Merry on there, which I think is just fine. So using, again, the tiny attacher to staple that in place. I'm going to do the same thing with the number here in a minute. And then I think the last thing that I'm going to be doing here is adding on the ribbon, which I'm going to use that same ribbon that I added onto the book club tag. And I'm going to put it specifically on the This December story. Yep, there we go. Just going to trim. For these ones, I'm not tying them in a knot. Some of you guys have seen how I do this before. I just go ahead and pull them through, and then I actually staple them in place. These ones you could probably just leave, like you wouldn't even have to tie them. You wouldn't have to staple them if you didn't want to either, because they're inside of the pocket, right? So they would essentially the ribbon's just going to sit flat in there. But the stapling just gives it a little bit of an extra spot there. So I think that this is kind of wrapping up for this one. So I really liked using the 2x2. I'm glad I had it in there just as a reminder to myself. Like that's what I do sometimes with my foundation pages, is just slip some things into the pockets, which is what I did here. So tomorrow for story number 7, whatever story I end up telling tomorrow, we'll use the back side of this, and I actually think that what I have on the back is like there's some of the muted squares, and maybe one of the ones that says simple simple December day, which is kind of what my Saturday is going to be like, or what I'm hoping that my Saturday is going to be like. So we shall see here tomorrow when it comes back around. So I hope for many of you that you'll have a chance to work on this project this weekend. If you are wanting to do some, maybe you're doing some catch up, maybe you're just getting started, maybe you have weekend plans that are going to allow you to be in your craft room. Whatever way you are tackling this, I hope that you enjoy the process, have some fun telling your own stories and capturing things that are happening this December.